everyone, today is Wednesday, December the 21st, 2022, and welcome back to another weather video. In this video, we're going to be continuing our conversation about this Arctic blast that will be heading into our area, into the eastern U.S. as we get into tonight, into tomorrow and Friday, and for the rest of Christmas weekend. It is going to be very cold. We're going to break down the temperatures. We're going to break down the wind chills, and we're going to break down who's going to see snow as we get into Friday, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day. So stay tuned for all of that information. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. That really helps me out a ton. So let's get into this video. So first, let's talk about the temperatures. The temperatures are going to be going down very much as we get into the latter half of the afternoon, into tonight, into Thursday and Friday. So we're going to pinpoint when the temperatures will drop. I mean, not at the exact moment, but we'll give you an area view of when the temperatures will drop in your area. So currently, this is at 1 p.m. If you want to look at the time, this is 1 p.m. on December the 21st. So let's move into 1 a.m. This is 12 hours later. Look at the temperatures in Nebraska. We're talking about negatives. 12 hours before, it was in the teens, in the single digits. We're going to be below 18, below zero as we get into tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning. Look at a place like Texas. Texas is going to be a classic example of how powerful this Arctic blast and this cold front will be moving through. As we get into 7 o'clock, look at the state of Texas. We're in the 40s for a good chunk of Texas as we get into next Thursday. And look at the Texas Panhandle. We're talking about single digits for this time tomorrow morning. I can't talk. It's in the morning time. But anywho, as we get into 7 a.m. on tomorrow, look at Amarillo, 5 degrees. Look at Dallas. We go from the 40s to 1 p.m. or 12 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be in the 20s for temperature. So I cannot talk. It's going to be a 15-degree temperature swing from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the Dallas area. I mean, look at the temperatures. We're talking about 60s in the Houston area, Brownsville. But look at the temperatures. As we get into 7 p.m., we're going from the 60s to the 30s, 40s. So you can classically see how this cold front is moving through. Look at a place like Little Rock, Arkansas, 41 degrees for tomorrow, early tomorrow morning. 12 hours later, we're in the 40s again. But then 7 o'clock, here comes that cold front moving through. 12 degrees pretty much is going to be your high. It's going to be in the single digits in Arkansas. Look at a place like Memphis, Tennessee. We're in the 50s from 1 p.m. 6 hours later, we're in the teens. So you can classically see how this cold front will be affecting your area and pretty much the entire eastern half of the country. Look at a place like Nashville. Look at Nashville, y'all. Look at Nashville. We're in the upper 40s for 7 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and evening. 6 hours later, we're at 1 a.m. We're at the single digits. Single digits. That's crazy to even think about that. 40-degree temperature swing in less than 5 hours. That is crazy. That is just crazy. I mean, look at the South. We're talking about Atlanta. As we get into 1 a.m., we're talking about temperatures in the 30s. Then 6 hours later, 7 a.m., we're talking about the teens, the single digits in Atlanta. And it's not going to get even warmer than that. I mean, look at the temperatures in the Southeast. These are the projected highs in the Southeast. We're talking about 20s for Columbia, South Carolina, 23 degrees, 20 degrees in Charlotte, Atlanta, 20 degrees for a high in Atlanta. Um, Even places down in New Orleans, 34. That's freezing in New Orleans. Even Florida. Florida's going to get impacted with this cold front as well. You look at the Northeast. We're talking about teens, single digits in the Northeast as we get into Friday morning. This cold front, I'm not Friday morning, Saturday morning, Christmas Eve morning. This cold front will move through the Northeast, and we're talking about temperatures on Saturday morning. Is probably going to be the coldest low temperatures we've seen in quite some time for a good chunk of the eastern U.S. in a long time. It's probably going to be the coldest, one of the coldest morning, if not the coldest morning in the entire year is going to be Saturday morning. I mean, look at these temperatures. We're talking about single digits, even below zero temperatures for a good chunk of the Midwest, the Southeast in the teens and 20s, the Northeast in the teens, single digits for lows. We're going to get to the wind chills in a minute. You're going to see how cold this Arctic air mass is going to be. And look at the temperatures for high temperatures for Saturday. We're talking about upper 20s, low 30s for the Southeast, the Northeast in the mid to upper teens, low 20s for the Northeast, the Midwest in the single digits. Some places in Minnesota, Minneapolis, going to be below 5 degrees. And then look at a place like Texas. Texas is going to be in the 30s for highs on Saturday. And look at Christmas Day. It's going to be even colder. Well, it's going to get a little bit warmer, but it's still going to be cold. 30s for a good chunk of the Southeast, 20s, teens for the Northeast, single digits again for the Midwest. So it's going to be cold for a good chunk of the country, the eastern U.S., as we get into Sunday. As we get, now let's talk about the wind chill. So we're going to break it down section by section, because if we do the whole eastern U.S., you're not going to get a feel of how cold this Arctic blast is going to be. So as we get into Wednesday, today is Wednesday, but as we get into the afternoon hours, these are the wind chills, by the way, not the temperatures, wind chills. Here comes that Arctic air. You can clearly see how it dips down, like just rockets down south. Place like Nebraska, look at Omaha. We're talking about 14-degree wind chill as we get into 6 o'clock tonight. 6 o'clock tonight, 14-degree temperature swing, 14-degree temperature, 14-degree temperature. And then as we get into early Thursday morning, we're talking about negatives for wind chills. Negative 15 degrees for a place like Omaha, Nebraska. Pretty much the entire state of Nebraska is going to be below zero, and like 20 degrees, even 40 degrees below zero in some places in northwest Nebraska. So it's going to be very cold, very, very cold. I mean, you're not going to be outside. Clearly, you're not going to be outside in these temperatures, in these wind chills. Look at a place like Kansas City in the mid 30s for highs. But then as we get into the latter part of the morning, we're talking about negatives for Kansas City, negative 10-degree wind chill. We're talking about from the 30, the feels like temperatures in the mid 30s to the feels like temperatures in the negative 10 below zero. Look at St. Louis. We're talking about 30 degrees for a wind chill as we get into 9 o'clock Central Time. 9 o'clock Central Time. Then look at the temperatures. Look at the temperatures as we get into 3 o'clock. So 6 hours later, we're talking about wind chills in the single digits for this area. So let's look at a place like Texas. Texas is a classic example of how this Arctic blast will affect y'all, and even the wind chills. So let's look at Texas. Texas, as we get into Thursday morning, you can see the temperatures in the negatives for a place like Amarillo. We're talking about wind chills, negative 10 degrees. Look at Oklahoma City in the 20s for 6 o'clock in the morning. Look at 3 hours later in the negatives. Like, this is crazy. Crazy. A lot of Texas is going to be in the 40s and 30s. Houston, up to 50 degrees in Houston. But then 6 hours later, look at a place like Dallas. We're going from the 30s to the teens and single digits for wind chill. So you can clearly see it's going to be cold. And this cold is reaching all the way down to the border of Texas and Mexico. So this cold is not going to stop. It's going to push down. When you look at these low temperatures, this is 6 o'clock on Friday morning. We're talking about temperatures in the teens. As we get into southern Texas, Houston, 15-degree wind chill for Houston, 3-degree wind chill for a place like Dallas. So it's going to be cold, freezing cold as we get into Friday morning. Now let's look at a place like the Southeast. Southeast is where I live in. Here's going to be the wind chill for the Southeast. So get ready. It's going to blow your mind. It's really going to blow your mind how cold it is. Thursday, here it comes right here in the left side of your screen. Here comes that cold front as we get into, these are temperatures for Thursday afternoon. Look at Little Rock. Let me go back. Look at Little Rock. I mean, we're talking about 40s in Little Rock as we get into 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. 3 hours later, we're talking about teens. So that's crazy. 30-degree temperature swing. Wind chills. Excuse me. I keep saying temperatures. Wind chill as we get into Thursday afternoon. Look at a place like Birmingham. We're in the upper 50s. For a Thursday afternoon. But 3 hours later, you're in the 20s for a place like Birmingham. Look at Atlanta. Atlanta is in the mid 40s for wind chills as we get into midnight on Friday, early Friday morning. 3 hours later, we're in the 20s. Look at a place like Columbia, South Carolina, 40s for a low temperature. But then as we get into 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, we're talking about 17-degree temperature wind chill. I mean, this is crazy. This is going to be a stout cold front that is moving through a lot of the eastern U.S. Look at these wind chills for a good chunk of Georgia. We're talking about negative 10 degrees for Alpharetta, Georgia, negative 2 for Atlanta, negative 1 for Anderson, South Carolina, 10 degrees in Greenville, 22 in Charlotte, 17 in Columbia. I mean, it is going to be cold. I mean, look at Florida, 60s in Florida for 9 o'clock. 6 hours later, we're talking about 20s for wind chills, 30s for Jacksonville, 39 degrees for wind chill in Jacksonville. And this cold is going all the way down. I mean, look at the low temperatures for the Southeast in the single digits. I mean, negative 1 in Atlanta, 3 degrees, 3-degree wind chill in Columbia, also in Charlotte, 20-degree wind chill in Jacksonville, 27-degree wind chill in Orlando. It is going to be cold. It is going to be freezing. I'm telling you, Christmas Eve morning is going to be the coldest morning in the year, in the entire year. It's going to be one of the coldest mornings in the year. So get ready because it's coming. I mean, look at the these are the temperatures for Saturday. I mean, not temperatures, the wind chills. 44 wind chill in Orlando. That's freezing for Florida terms. Even Miami is in the 60s. The 60s and 50s in Miami is cold. That's like 30s and 20s for our area. That's cold for those of you who live in Miami. And then as we get into Sunday, here we go. Same thing with these temperatures. 20s and teens for a good chunk of the South for wind chills. Now let's get into our final place, which is the Northeast. The Northeast. So as we get into Thursday, let me scroll down. You can't see. As we get into Thursday, here comes the Arctic air. I mean, look at this. I'm sorry I had to laugh, but look at this. Look at Ohio. Look at Ohio, y'all. This is early Friday, midnight on Friday. 3 hours later, we're talking about -4 in Cincinnati right here. -4 degree wind chill in Cincinnati. 3 hours later, look at the entire state. As we get into Friday morning, the entire state of Ohio is below 0 degrees. In less than 6 hours, the entire state is below 6 degrees. And it's coming. It's coming to the Northeast. Look at 12 o'clock noon on Friday. We're talking about single digits, teens for DC, Baltimore. But look at Philly, New York, Boston, still in the 40s, but it's coming. 3 hours later, here comes it. Look at Philly. We're going from 44-degree wind chill to 14-degree wind chill for Philly. New York City, we're going from, I think that says 47-degree wind chill in New York City, 24-degree wind chill in New York City as we get into 3 o'clock on Friday. So a 20-degree temperature swing. Look at Boston. We're going from the 50s in Boston on Friday afternoon. 3 hours later, we're in the teens, single digits. So it is going to be cold for a good chunk of the Northeast. Look, these are the low temperatures for Friday night, early Saturday mornings. You wake up on Christmas Eve, it's going to be in the negatives for a good chunk of the Northeast, single digits. So yeah, it's going to be cold for a good chunk of the eastern U.S. I think we kind of get the point of how cold it is for a good chunk of the country. Now let's move on to the snow. So the snow is going to be a big topic for the next couple of days. Who's going to get the snow? Who's not? As we get into Thursday morning, here comes the Arctic front right here. You can clearly see this Arctic front. We're talking about snow into Minnesota, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri. Look at Kansas City, still getting that snow. And the wind is going to be a big issue too. The wind is going to be huge for this storm. It's going to be windy and snowy, so this can cause some blizzard conditions, especially into the Midwest. But then as we get into Thursday evening, we're talking about snow as far south as northern Mississippi, Memphis seeing the snow, Nashville, Birmingham, Atlanta seeing the snow, maybe some suburbs of Atlanta seeing some snow. But look at these tight isobars. These isobars are the little lines that are going through right here. That means that it's going to be very, very windy, very windy. So we might have some blizzard conditions as we get into Friday morning, Friday night into Friday morning. I mean, you're probably going to wake up Friday morning in a place like Ohio into just blizzard conditions, winds gusting up to 40, 50 miles per hour. And it's going to be snowing and it's going to be freezing, like negative temperatures. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold, snowy. It's going to be a miserable day on Friday. This is the temperatures for, not temperatures. These are the snow for Friday afternoon. Even a place like Philly, DC, Baltimore, New York City, Boston is going to be seeing the snow as we get into Friday night. And then Saturday morning, the snow will start to clear out. We'll see maybe some lake effect snow or some snow still in the lakes. Lake Erie, Lake Superior is still going to see some snow. Lake Michigan still seeing some snow as we get into Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, it doesn't look like we're going to see a lot of snow into a good chunk of the country. But it's going to be cold. You're going to trade out the snow for the cold because it's going to be freezing for Christmas. But anyway, that's this video is kind of long. It's kind of long, but this is going to be the temperatures for a good chunk of the country. Is going to be in the single digits, teens, 20s, 30s for a good chunk of the country. So be prepared. We might have some power outages from this storm. I'll have another update on Friday when the actual Arctic front will be coming through my area. So I'll be interested to see. I'll be interested to see what will happen I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this off. With the temperatures in my area, because I'm going to watch this, because Friday I'm not going nowhere. It's going to be cold. So I'm going to watch these temperatures fall down. And remember, the highs, especially in the southeast, are going to be at midnight. Is going to be the highest temperature of the day, because the temperatures all throughout the day on Friday are going to tumble. They're going to dramatically fall, and the wind chill. So I'm going to be very intrigued to see how my temperatures in my area will fall quickly. I mean, literally in a matter of 3 hours, maybe 2 hours, the temperature might go from the 40s to the 20s. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, insane, and I can't wait to see how my area will react to this Arctic air mass. So anyway, thanks for watching this video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. That really helps me out a ton. And I will see you on Friday for maybe a special video on Friday. I might like do a little vlog or something just to iterate how cold it's going to be. So I'll see you on Friday. Peace.